Hello, everybody. It has been a very, 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 very long time. Welcome to Sunday in the Park with your host, Adrianne Michele. I hope you all are well. I've been very, very busy. There's a lot of new things coming out for me down the pike, and I want you to pay really close attention for a new direction that we're going to be going into. So I'm really excited about that new direction. But I also am extremely excited about our very special guest that we have today, a boss, multi-talented. And I am so excited that he is here today. Gene Groove Allen, better known as Groove. He first hit the scene back in the late 80s. He was part of a high energy, lyrically smooth, hip hop, rap, dance duo. I mean, they did everything. Groove Be Chill. And he was with his equally talented partners, Daryl Chill Mitchell and DJ Bilal Miller. And they were just the catalyst behind the house party, I guess, experience, I'd say. And he's then gone on to do so many amazing things. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring him up. And I am so excited that he is here today.
Hey.
And how are you?
I am doing marvelous, and it's getting better. How are you?
I am wonderful. Blessed. Wow. It's amazing what God does and how paths cross.
Yes. It's funny because I think about that, and I live that like a lot nowadays. Sometimes you don't realize that God is taking you to places in your journeys, and for people who kind of stop and think about it and look at things from beginning to end, this is all destined. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to talk to your audience. I'm happy to be on your platform.
Yes, and thank you so much. It's an honor. I'm telling you. I mean, if somebody would have told me, I don't know, what's it been 20, 30 years ago that I would be here with you, I would have told them you're crazy.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. If someone told me that I was gonna be living in the DMV area, because I'm from New York, I'd be like, nah, because when I first thought about, when you're growing up, it's like, I'm never leaving New York. I love New York. And then as I got a little older, like, I'm tired of New York. I gotta find a place somewhere to go. And so to say that I'm here after all this time is a blessing as well.
That's funny because around here we're like, I got to get out of here. I got to go to New York. I can't stay here.
Well, you see,
you got to do something different.
I worked on Wall Street for a minute, and you get off the A train going downtown, and you find this everybody running. So one day I was like, I can't run to work. I was fortunate enough to have some friends living in Ashburn, Virginia. And that changed my day. In New York, it's brick around October, November. It's 20 degrees below, easy. I came out here for like around Thanksgiving, and I literally remember like jogging in the street. First, you don't jog in the street in New York, but jogging in the street, had my little t-shirt on and my shorts, and it's like 70 degrees. People are waving. I'm seeing deer. People are like, hi, how you doing, neighbor?
World.
It was crazy. World, it was like, oh, this is utopia. So next thing I know, I went back. I packed my bags, and I was out.
You was out, right? I've had an opportunity to really, really do my homework on you. Mm-hmm. And there's so many things I didn't know. I just want to dive in. Who was in your beginning?
I'm originally from Long Island, New York, in the suburbs, low to middle class, a little bit of money, not a lot of money. Parents worked hard, 2 jobs, the whole 9, family, brother, sister. And I always had a passion for music. Always. I love music, from Jackson 5, the whole 9. That was always my thing. I love to dance, love to sing. I wanted to be a singer. I used to look at like James Brown and Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. And I was eclectic. I listened to the Beatles. I listened
Ooh.
to Conway Twitty, anybody who knows country.
Yeah.
But that was my thing. And when I got maybe about 12, maybe about 11 or 12, a friend of mine who's still my a good friend of mine, Derwin Rumph, he moved from the South Bronx, and he had these mixtapes, these tapes, and it on it was that changed my life. It really did. It was rap. It was hip hop. It was Cold Crush Brothers. It
Mm.
was Funky 4+1. It was
Come on.
African Bambaataa and the Zulu
Woo.
Nation. It was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Mm.
Five, Grandmaster Flash, and you know, I'm listening to R&B, and all of a sudden, I'm like, what in the world? I fell in love. And
Yeah.
the first tape I heard was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from Queens, and
Mm.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if no one knows, is Andre Harrell, Uptown Records
Yes.
CEO,
May you rest in peace. Yes.
RIP, most definitely,
Yeah.
and Alonzo Brown, A&R for a label that we'll talk about later. And I remember his rhyme, JECKYLL, from the top of World Trade to the depths of hell. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to be a rapper. So I literally, started pen, pad, writing. We were listening to all kind of music and mixes, and I mimicked that. I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to MC. I wanted to talk like that. And growing up, there wasn't a lot going on like that in Long Island. So literally, and it's said, and I don't know how true it is, that we kind of bridged the gap in the area in terms of hip hop and rap, because there
Mm.
wasn't a lot. And I ended up, really enjoying the genre, doing parties, emceeing at parties and stuff like that. And that's how I cut my teeth, going to parks, doing some battles, hanging out, just living that life, and it
Yeah.
got me to where I wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting because it's never that cut and dry how you get to, get
No,
to what,
no.
your passion is, or get through your passion. It's never cut and dry. There's always a process. And that, to me, I keep thinking about, you were on that path. You were meeting people that were your heroes in the industry. But how did you get your drive? Like, where did you get the drive? I mean, you're a young kid. Like, what young kid has that kind of drive? I mean, what would you attribute that to?
I think my parents, my father, even to this day, I remember he would work like maybe two, three jobs. Like, didn't have the money. So if my mother wanted a new refrigerator, he would work part time at, different jobs to get money to buy it for. My mother always taught me, no matter what I wanted to do, focus, you can accomplish it, you can do it, but you got to believe. And that was, to the point where even at that age, I was like, I want to be, if I want to be a lawyer, if I want to be a doctor, like I said, I want to be a singer, I want to be an entertainer, but that was instilled in me. So
Mhm.
I literally remember, you know, going through as 14, 15, 16, 17, cultivating relationships with people who took me to places and changed my life. There was a gentleman, Jeffrey Shin. He was from Southside Jamaica.
Mhm.
And um, I had never been to Queens before. So I'm like 15, 16, and I almost lost my mind. I'm not going to lie. Maybe a little early, 13, 14, because this is a new world. I'm taking the train. I'm in Jamaica. There's a place called the Coliseum. And another moment in time where I heard, so all this time, there was records were being made, hip hop records, rap
Mhm.
records,
And
Enjoy.
this is what time? Like,
This is around, this
it's,
is mid 70s. Yeah, mid 70s,
okay.
because I heard this record 2 years ago. A friend of mine
Mhm.
asked me to say some MC rhymes, and Run DMC changed the narrative of how hip hop was, because we was hearing, broken glass everywhere. People just go to the pub, they just don't care.
Yeah.
And now they used records that we were playing in the streets, and their whole
Mm.
flow was in like, oh my God. I fell in love again with just what they were doing, and how they changed the narrative in hip hop. And that was that drive, getting those pieces, those little
Wow.
jewels that I would hear and see. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's funny. When did you fall in love with hip hop? Every time you say that, I keep thinking about
couple of times, a couple of times. Hey, I fall in love with hip hop every day. It's
I'm
like a
gonna tell
relationship.
you.
It's like a woman. Sometimes I love you, sometimes I hate you, but you still got nothing but love for her. It is because music is different. Music changes the landscape of music, but at the end of the day, what it does, what it makes you feel, what it
Yeah,
brings out
yeah.
of you or the people that you talk to. Um, I think that's there's nothing like being on that mic and having a crowd of people throwing their hands in the air and vibing to what you're telling them and vibing to
Hmm.
them. I say it's almost like making love to your audience because they
Yeah.
connect with you. Um, if you're good, if you're good, you got to be at least a little decent. And I wasn't that
Mhm.
bad. I
Right.
wasn't the most lyrically. I ain't gonna say I was. Oh, my rhymes were so dope and plays. No, I was good. I was okay.
Hmm.
But connecting with that audience, I was definitely dope with that. I could always do that.
Throughout your history and your journey, you were a part of the Groove Beat Chill. I know there's a story, extensive story way before that. I know.
Hmm. Hmm.
What was that story? Before you got with Groove Beat Chill, or before
Um,
you all formed Groove Beat Chill.
so I was, I just got out of high school, and a friend of mine, James Smith, and once again, that's that moment in time that just changed my life. He would go to the Bronx, and we would hang out with Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, DJ Red Alert, Jazzy J, Soul Sonic Force, before
Mm,
their record, just before their record, and we would go to like the T Connection in the Bronx, all these different clubs, the Latin Quarter, and we'd be up there, listening to the music, and so we were connected to them. They actually, when our graduation, they came and did our graduation party, and it was crazy. The block
wow.
party was crazy. We were talking to Mighty Zulu Nation. Africa Bambaataa is the godfather of records. He's also
Yeah.
one of those bricks in hip hop history. And later on, James Smith, and so I'll tell you, we all lived in the same area, maybe 10, 15 minutes away from them. James Smith is also the brother of Parrish Smith, EPMD. So it's all connected. And I was like, we're family, brothers.
Yeah.
And he came to me, we was working, I was, I first wanted to be a police officer. Well, I didn't, I wanted to work. I wanted to get much money. So I was in this police kind of, not academy, but kind of, uh, uh, a training ground. It's called community service. We would go and give lectures and talk to kids and watch for strangers, stuff like that. He came in to the station when they said, "Hey, you want to make a record? You used to rap?" I said, "Sure, let's do it." And
Right.
next thing I know, we was in the studio. We would call a group called the Rock Squad, and it was myself, it was James Smith, it was Jerry J, and there was Kevin Madison, K Solo. So, and this is interesting because Kevin was like the best. Kevin's lyrical ability was crazy, but he knew it. And what happens with, as we know, sometimes a person with egos, like we would have practice, he wouldn't show. So it came to a point where we had to let him go. And us three was in the studio called the Rock Squad. And if you look for the album, you'll see Paris as DJ P was actually on the album, even though he didn't do any recording. But we put him on the album, and a lot was learned. We were signed to Tommy Boy due to the relationship with Bam, and one of the first early lessons I found about the music is what you start out with. If you don't own it and control it, it's not yours. And
Mm,
when we first went in the studio, the beat was kind of like kind of banging. The rap style was definitely like the Furious Five and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But by the time we finished with the producers, and I don't know where we found the producers, but it ended up being like this disco kind of tune, like it was annoying. The song was annoying, and I'm on the song. You know what I'm saying? I'm annoying. I think we sold like 2 copies. I think my mother bought one. I bought one. But I got bit with the bug. It was like, oh, a song, a record. And I remember like Hot 97, 98.7. You would hear it in the mixes. But we never said it. They never played the words. They never played the words. They just played. So you live and learn. And but like I said, I was bit by the bug. This is what I
Hmm.
knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I felt. I felt that I had more to give. And I remember going back to James, and James became a police officer. Jerry J went to the Navy. So I'm
Wow.
saying I gotta find somebody. I'm gonna do a record. I'm gonna do a record. And that's how, the journey to Groove Be Chill connected.
Right. And I do want to let people know, if you go to Gene's website, which is, I have it there is an extensive story on the untold story of Groove Be Chill. That's very interesting. And so please go on and I'll drop the link also in our in the chat as well. You have to go on and hear this story. It is it's Black history. It's the culture. It's hip hop history, music history. And so I just, as you're moving in your Groove Be Chill, I think that I see that you're moving through becoming a group. To me, it almost seems like you didn't really get a chance to become a group.
Exactly.
Or do the things that you were going to do as a group to propel yourself as a group before. And I'm not saying that you didn't. You had hit records. You were signed to a regular record label, Uptown. You had your videos. You had all of that going for you. Take me to now where that changes for you all.
So, a couple of things. Groove Be Chill was something of Rock Squad Rock Squad wasn't going to record anymore, and I collectively, the first person I picked that I wanted to be in the group was DJ, and that was Bilal Miller. Wine Dance 11798. Big ups to 11798. That, Wine Dance Park was where a lot of rappers, I mean, from myself, Biz, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, Leaders of the New School, Public Enemy, you would all go to Wine Dance. You go to different parks, and Wine Dance Day was like the park where you cut your teeth. And I remember seeing this kid cutting. His abilities is sick, it's still crazy. And I'm like, that's the guy I want on the DJ. And I remember going to Wine Dance Day, and at the time I was going out there, just to, I was going solo. I was going to go out there and just, get on somebody's mic because they knew me. And I remember seeing this kid that was rapping with Bilal had a hat. And I'm like, who's the guy with the hat and the coins? It was like never seen it before. But he had the crowd rocking. So you think about when you're in Rome, and I knew everybody from Wine Dance. Everybody knew me. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you just gotta to be collective. Sometimes you got to go with the flow to be with the flow. So rather me say, go out there and say, yo, let me go against you. I said, yo, let's rap together. And we ended up rapping together and had a great time and whatnot. Long story short, that's how the Groove Be Chill evolved. Mm. We were working with this kid I call him Boy Genius, Nathaniel Tinsley, 13, 14, had all kind of engineering equipment in his little basement, living with his grandmother and his grandfather, but they were real cool people. And somehow he connected with these guys out of Queens that were working with this label and this gentleman called Andre Harrell. And we had I forget the demo, it was like Dragon Breath. I think it was Dragon Breath, kind of reminiscent of Dougie Fresh and the show kind of scenario.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was He gave them the demo tape, and they said, well, hey, Andre said, I want to meet you. We wanted to give us a shot. Let's come meet him. So I think it was, we drove down like the LIE. It was crazy. It was like, we had like 30 minutes to get there. We got there in like 28 minutes. We was in this little cramped room. And I remember we practiced dance steps. So we're doing these dance steps and we're trying to rap this song when Andre is like literally smelling my breath. We that close. But I'm like, we gonna dance. We gonna get it. He's gonna know something today. And when we finished, he said, oh, I love you. You guys is crazy. Oh my God. Oh, we gonna sign. We're gonna make some money. And he ended up signing us on the spot. And the fortunate thing, we were the last group. He had 5 spots, and we were the 5th spot to be signed. And it was Heavy D and the Boys, Finesse and Some Quiz, Woody Rock, DJ Marley Marr, Juice Crew, and Brothers Black. And so you're thinking there's 5 different groups. Everybody's trying to be, maybe not number 1, but we all want it now. We all want to get, that's our turn. What happened was, the real case scenario was, Andre was really behind, and Heavy D was his golden key. And we felt that at that time we wasn't getting enough attention. And that's how things started really changing in terms of
Right.
the trajectory of what we started and how we ended up.
Yeah. So you are as you were moving forward, you're signed to Uptown, and you are in that light, and then you and Groovy Chill, you all are doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you meet the gentleman that
Changed our lives again.
yeah, change your lives.
Um,
Who was that? Who did you meet, and then what? And how were your lives changed? What exactly did that propel you into?
well, so Reggie Reginald Warrington Hudlin were hired by Andre. Andre had met them at some kind of showcase and talked to them about, he loved the way they thought and their process, and he was all about hiring black, all about, I'm a black business. I'm hiring black people to help me build my black business, and
Right.
so they did and directed and produced the first two videos, maybe the first three videos. Uptown's Kicking It, which the whole collective was there, and Mr. Big Stuff. And
Mm.
Mr. Big Stuff was filmed first from Heavy D, and everybody from the group, from the collective, was in it. And so the call time was in Queens. We were supposed to be there like, let's say 8 o'clock, but I said, all right, fellas, we're gonna be there at 6 because that's how we got there.
Mm.
And they were impressed the fact that we were there early. But I think the biggest thing about it at the end, and the Hudlin brothers, while we were doing the shoot, they asked us, well, what do you do? And I said, well, what we do is when we're not trying to work 9 to 5, we do house parties. And so, well, tell us about that. And Bilal was telling them, all the little stories, and I would tell them those stories about house parties. Chill would tell them those stories. He said, you know what? We're working on this treatment to do this movie. And we'd love to, sit down and talk to y'all and, kind of get some more detail and kind of get some infrastructure. We said, sure, no problem. And I think, that the end of the shoot, everybody had left, but we stayed and said, hey, we helped them break down tables and chairs. And that's not what we needed to do. But we felt like, for one, we were all in this together. And I remember I spoke to Warrington Hudlin maybe about a couple of months back when he said, Groove, I don't know if you know this, but this stood about your character. This told us that you guys had character and ethics because you helped us when nobody else did, but you didn't have to. And that whole year, we would go back and forth to Manhattan, to Brooklyn, and meet with them, and we would talk about all kind of stories that were about how our house party experiences, from battling to dancing to being drunk to being late to parties as the DJ. And during that time, we had a lot of hurdles with Uptown. They wasn't guiding us, they wasn't managing us, and I'll go back into that a little bit. And I remember we're coming back from Brooklyn, or no, that was from Manhattan, where the office had moved to, and we were very frustrated. We were like mad, like, we want to do this album. We got these songs. We've been going back and forth to the studio. Nobody's caring. And we said, well, what about them Hudlin brothers? They supposed to put us in a movie. They said they're gonna do a movie. What about them? And I'm gonna tell you, God tells you, God talks. That same day, on my answering machine was a call from Reggie, and he said, hey, Groove, we are working. We signed this deal with New Line Cinema, and we want you to audition for this movie called House Party. Scandalous. I have to say, if you speak the truth, you speak what you want, and God will answer. I said that I wanted to be in a movie, I wanted to do a record, and I wanted to go to the Soul Train Music Awards.
Oh,
and yeah, that's also,
yes,
behind it. And literally, we got the sides, and a lot of people don't know that treatment, that stuff that we did a year and a half ago. They had us doing working on our acting. They had us, doing ad libs, going to little workshops. All of us, Ruby Chill, Sydney Shireen, Finesse and Quest, because they were supposed to be the girls in the movie. Finesse and Quest was supposed to be Sydney Shireen. Literally, we auditioned. My part was for play, and Daryl, my partner, was the part of Kid. And Bilal, DJ Bilal, if you remember, Martin Lawrence's character's name was Bilal.
Bilal, you're right.
That was our DJ, Bilal Miller. So we went there, New Line Center in front, and they're throwing stuff at us. They don't know, these are my brothers. We do this every day. So they're throwing us curveballs, and can you do this and do that and do that and read the scripts and read the lines, and we don't need no boom, and we killed it. They're like, you guys, oh my lord, you're funny. Oh my, you're funny. Oh. Called, listen, they loved you. You guys did an incredible job. I think we got this. But unfortunately, album was not successful. Album was out, wasn't making moves. Kid and Play was hot, and it was a business decision. And we got a call maybe about a week or two later, say, listen, we wanted you to get in this part, get this movie, but the studio wants to get, some other people, Kid and Play, but we still have parts for you. Now, the line is that, they made 5 million, we made 5,000, but we weren't bitter. Not at all. Not at all.
No, not at all.
But we were fortunate, God has reasons and does the things that he does. And we were able to put, I think we put a spin on that movie in our parts where, people still remember me to this day. Ooh, you the drunk, you funny, your dance, you fell out, you did this. I see the line. I'm getting those digits, all that.
You can't watch a house party movie without, you made everything out of those roles. They're classic.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Definitely. To the point, even now, scandalous. All but that's what we do. That's what we did. We hang out and we sitting in the basement, and we sipping on old English back in the day, and just snapping and talking and rapping and hanging out. It was very organic because that's what we do. That's what we did, and it came across.
I was going to say that the process was natural. You said organic already for you to move from where you are to that, because that was what you all did. That's who you were. That was your character. Yeah. That's what, so you brought yourself, to that whole, experience, what you already did. And that's amazing. And again, so much of it, when you say that, just so much of it is just such a blessing. All of it's a blessing. That you were able to experience it in that way. Do you feel like now, well, let me stop a minute. Mm-hmm. When did you all everybody know that this was a hit? House Party was a hit.
I think that night that we went to the screening and we would hear people laugh at those moments that we were hoping that they laughed. Full force doing their things. The time when I was dancing with the girl and I bumped her into the and I turned around and she was going. Definitely, when we was in the kitchen, and I'm sipping the gold, I would say, this thing right here, people, when you hear people laughing and they don't know that that's you. It's like, they this is it. This is going to be it. And before we knew it, to this day, I remember speaking to Reggie and Warrington about the numbers. And at that time, I'm talking about recently, I talked about numbers, but back then you didn't care. But they blew the numbers nationally and internationally. It was crazy to the point where they had arrived. And so we all knew. But I think. What happens, for me personally, it was a place there, that I wanted to stay in, but Hollywood is notorious for not letting you stay. And
that's a good way to put it.
It's like my downside, because there's a price to pay. I remember being on the set, and then you'd walk outside and there's Sylvester Stallone, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm meeting these guys like, hey, nice to meet you. Like, what are you doing? It's like, hey, but then all of a sudden you got to go home because nobody's calling you for parts. And our record company ended up writing us off for a tax write-off. And personally for me, it was the hardest thing. I say it now, I was depressed. I was depressed.
I'm glad you're going into this piece because it is, well-known nationally, internationally, House Party, the cast, everything that was going on at that time. But then you always want to know the behind the scenes, what happened next. You know, what happened? You know, you can't stay there forever. Like you said, Hollywood has that way. So I'm glad you're going into this piece about the transition.
That was one of those low points in my life. You know, although internally, inside, deep inside, I know that I can accomplish all things through my God. Knew that. That's how I was raised. But at that time, human form. I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing another movie. I'm supposed to have another album. But instead, I'm working. I'm at work now. I'm working. My background, I worked in the mental health field. Long Island, you become a cop, sell drugs, do music, or work in the state hospital. I worked in the state hospital. And it was a sombering moment, a humbling moment, because one minute I'm on red carpet sipping champagne, dancing with Queen Latifah. Next thing I know, I'm selling medication patients. You know, and it was a humbling moment. I'm glad I went through it, but I didn't know at the time. I was depressed. My relationships were terrible. My how I thought about myself was definitely reckless, and it took me a long time to kind of dig myself out of that, to the point where I'm glad I went through it, because now I know that, you know, God says sometimes I got to put you through things. You got to learn the hard stuff. You know, not that life wasn't hard, but now all of a sudden, you know, when you're at that level and you're thinking that this is next, and all of a sudden, nah, man, you human. It allowed me to really gauge myself as a person.
What was the moment that snapped you out of it, that allowed you to pull out of that depression, that got you back to the light?
Couple of things. I think in terms of self, what I did for myself, I remember I was living back on Long Island. I was living in a room, working 2 jobs and whatnot, and it was okay, but I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. That was really not good for me to do. And I remember one night, you know, I got on my hands and knees and I prayed to God and I said, Lord, you know, you know what I'm going through. You see what I am, but you know the kind of person I am, and I want you to take me to where you want me to be. And for some crazy reason, I don't know, I looked up, you know how the people say, I looked through the star and I saw the shining star. So I know, for real though, I saw this shining star. I said, that's it, Lord. Oh, I got you. And that's when I kind of started making the changes within myself. But also, I think that I was opening to whatever was brought to me, to learn from it. And I remember getting a call from friends of mine that we were trying. They were living in LA, and they called me and said, "Groove, why don't you come out? You know, I know you want to rap. I know you're still doing your thing. Just come out and hang out with us." And the guy, you know, it was Peter Work. He used to work with New Kids on the Block and that whole Star Entertainment, Maurice Starr, if anybody knows, and, you know, New Edition, you know, New Kids on the Block, that whole scenario. And he there was this dude out of the Bronx called Nitro, Darren Glowers, and he was a producer, but he was also doing commercials. So I went out to LA, you know, and I lived out there for about a year and a half, and he put me on doing jingles, commercials, voiceovers. To the point where that was the next change or transformation in my life. But just because of I think God was saying, okay, I put you through this. Now let's start putting things back in order.
Putting things back in order.
Yeah.
Giving you a little at a time. Building.
Yep.
The foundation. Rebuilding.
Yep.
Rebuilding. Wow. You know, well, first, I'm going to tell you what was going through my mind when you said voiceovers. Are there Black people that do voiceovers?
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
I said, okay, well.
Oh my goodness, it's a whole. So, all right. So, I did doing LA. I ended up doing like national. Everybody wants to do national. I did Pringles potato chips. If potato chips are going to cross your
Oh,
lips, pop the Pringles, not like chips in a bag. And it was rap. You know what I'm saying? So because Pringles wanted to
ah,
get hip, you heard? um,
yeah.
I did that national. I did honeycombs. Honeycombs was it was a big payday for me because it's also national. But they had two different versions. They had the MC Search version. MC Search from third base. His was dope.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, ooh, hey yo, I got the taste for the crunch. Like he was in the pocket. Mine, ding, 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 ding. We all love the taste of the crunch, crunchy. But it paid a whole lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh
so I ended up doing that. I did Toyota, Coca-Cola, a lot of
mm,
different ones. My first year of doing that,
wow.
I got like off I made like off the Pringles potatoes, I made like $100,000 for maybe a week and a half.
No way.
Because you was getting shots, you was getting those residuals. We love residuals.
No residual. Yeah, absolutely.
So that was part of putting my foundation back. Um, During that time, I went back to New York. I ended up getting my LPN license. I got my LPN license and actually my financial advisor, Series 7, Series 63, like that same year. Um, I overachieved, I guess. I don't know. I guess God said, "All right, now I'm gonna put now you there. Come on now." Um,
Put it
and
all
I
together.
love doing that. But in my heart of hearts, and even to this day, it's still about. I knew
Mm,
I would come back to it. I just didn't know when.
right. So you're here,
Hmm.
and you are, living life. Are you out working a 9 to 5 at this point, and all these things are going on, and you said in your heart of hearts, you were trying to get
Hmm.
back. How did you get back to your first love? What led you back to it?
Um, I'm gonna
Self
say
understanding.
That
because
part. Mm-hmm.
we all have within us something that we want to do and a passion, and but I put a lot of roadblocks. Um, I put a lot of how do you call it doubt, and not
Mm-hmm.
listening to what
Yeah.
what's really inside you. And so for some reason, so a friend of mine wanted me to do this business, and I really didn't want to do it. Doing insurance and kind of stuff. But she put me on to a couple of motivational speakers, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn.
Oh, I love Zig Ziglar.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they talked about, but I took it as the man in the mirror, um, and how the first part of it is, you got to be honest with yourself because a lot of people aren't. We
Yeah.
aren't. We all have these little masks and little pieces that we don't really
Mm-hmm.
show to people. But when you close the door and you turn off those lights and you close your eyes, that person is you, and you know what you're going through, and you know what you're doing, you know what you got.
Right.
You can't lie to
Right.
yourself. So
Mm-mm.
I started kind of stripping and healing that away and pulling that away and really understanding what I wanted, what I was, and also what I wanted to become. And I
Mm.
gradually started taking those steps. I ended up going to a voice acting school, Edge Studios, incredible school. They're in
Oh.
Virginia, New York, I think like Philadelphia and maybe LA. Um,
Mm.
and I knew they were top notch because their studios have like they do the Marvel TV animation at the studio in New York. They're
Oh.
top notch. Went to there. I started training because I wanted to get back into voice acting.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to kind of start building my brand, and then God just brought like crazy opportunities in the past 2 years that
Mm.
if someone told me that this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to be at, I've been nah, not me. But I think once you pull back all the BS, um, and you listen to what that spirit is telling you,
Mm.
and more importantly, be true to that spirit.
Right.
It's amazing. It's true. It's truly amazing. I'm here to tell you.
You're a builder. You're a visionary.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, having said that, as you were talking just now, definitely for purpose and on purpose.
Mm.
that you
Speak that
are
stuff there, girl.
okay, okay,
Got
that you are
Gilligan.
here. Right, get off the island, Lord. Yeah, don't give me something, okay? I got a little something too now.
I know that's right.
No, I'm saying that because that's something I like this conversation.
Me too.
As I'm hearing this, I'm thinking of students that I've worked with and have conversation with
Mm-hmm.
about what they want to do and what they want to be. And,
Mm-hmm.
we as adults, whether we're parents or we're in a student's life, helping them, mentoring them, we always tend to go towards that way of giving them the knowledge that maybe we didn't have, or the thing that we should have done that we didn't do. And they're always in the position as to not really see the full picture. And I remember telling a student actually earlier this week, hindsight is 2020. Have you ever heard of that quote? And they said, oh no. And I said, you can see more behind you than you can in front of you, and as we're having this interview, we are seeing how things develop for you over time.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Almost like I've seen the timeline. Still and so now we're here.
Yep.
And you're saying 2 years ago, and I just want to say you have a lot. We have a wherewithal to look behind us and be able to look behind us and see where we've come.
Yeah.
Then that's a gem. You are at this point, you've seen behind yourself, you've looked behind yourself, you reflected, you stayed on the path. Path was rocky. Sometimes it was smooth, sometimes it was great. But all throughout that, looking behind you to what you have now, how are you moving forward with your first love in the industry? What are you doing now?
It's crazy because by day I'm a business banker, so I help a lot of minority businesses with the resources that they need when it comes to working capital, cash flow, all those type of scenarios. But at night, I'm it's the entertainer piece that's I don't let the 9 to 5 not take away the passion from that 5 to maybe 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I remember my manager, we use this LinkedIn. It's website that everybody use, the professional Facebook. And I never used it before. And I said, okay, let me use it. And then I remember saying, let me find some studios in the DMV area that might have might need some help with branding and marketing and need voiceover. And I ran into the studio called TFN. It was out in Silver Spring. So I see the email, I email them, I send them my demos, and they say, hey, we'd like to talk to you. So, and this is the beginning, and this is why I say, God said, okay, do LinkedIn. God said, put that in. And the two people that changed my life literally again, Cynthia Ashley, Marshane Winfield, COO, CEO of TFN, Total Faith Network, out of New York, White Plains. They had moved from Silver Springs and moved back to New York. They're from New York. And they said, hey, we know your story. We know, your background, your history. We want to interview you for our TV show. I said, hey, let's do it. I'm trying to build my brand. Maybe 2-3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, they get a host, and she used to host the show, and they're hiring a new host, and he was out of Atlanta. And the guy calls me, and we're kind of doing this kind of kind of work. And I was supposed to go up to New York and interview on a face-to-face like a Monday. Well, that Friday they called me. No, Friday they canceled. I seen an email canceling, and the host called and said, yeah, we have some problems, and we'll have to reschedule. I said, okay, no problem. So they call me directly Saturday. Say, listen, we want to ask you, how would you like to be the new host of the show? And that blew me away. That totally blew me away. I didn't see it coming. But, once again, I was like, thank you, God. Yeah, I'll do that. So I host this show called the Total Faith Network, or the new Total Faith Network. And it was faith-based, the station, but they wanted to kind of go into a different direction, more entertainment, more political, definitely conversational, to the point where there's different points and viewpoints being brought in. And I've been able to interview and meet incredible people. I able to Full Force, my brother, on my show. Sean James from the Minnesota Vikings,
Yeah.
RC Ali, Amelia Antonetti,
Yeah.
um, then Curtis Blow, um, um, DJ Hollywood. I mean all these people, and this is how I got connected. Being out there now, because now I have a platform. I think, oh, I got a platform now. Let me go and do the Facebook and hey, watch the TFN, and I get a ping from these guys from Philadelphia and Jersey, DJ Chemo, and B&A Allen, two brothers, and their vibe was so spiritual, and the biggest thing of it, I remember I went to his house a little early, and they opened the door, walked in, and there was so much love. And these guys are like really talented, and you know we ended up um, doing the record, and I invited them on my show, and I dubbed them the New Jack Kings. And
Ha.
once again, that was that moment in time.
Mm.
That was that moment in time, and
Yeah.
now I'm their guide.
Their guide. Yeah. I like that. Their guide. That is New Jack Kings. Shout out to them.
Yes, yes, yes.
They're doing so much right now. And I did have an opportunity to meet them a few weeks back.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was an honor. That was an honor.
They really changed my life. They asked me, did they, they wanted me to manage them. What I learned, that hindsight.
That's what I learned. I love it.
Yeah, God brings you these things, these jewels, and you accept it, take it, be nourished on it, be nourished by it. And I said, I told him, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm not really a manager. We're partners. I'll guide, and that opened up just a bunch of other doors. Meeting you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dreamer 369. Shout out to Dreamer 369.
Yeah, shout out to Dreamer 69, DJ Trigati, and OG Hustle.
Yeah,
doing it. I mean, my gosh, innovative.
Then it clicked, and we connected. OG Trice and Gotti, and
yes,
like, yo, we took pictures and whatnot. And they said, yo, we got to connect, blah blah blah. And once again, Dreamer 369 changed my life. They really did, because they invited me to their podcast, and their
Pool Table Talk podcast. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, that which it was incredible experience.
Amazing.
Papers,
if you haven't,
y'all
haven't seen that, you need to see it.
Brooklyn Beans, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
the whole crew. We're talking, and at the end, they're telling me, we believe in you. You still got a lot to offer and give, and they want to work together. And I didn't even think about at that moment, to where we are now, because through them, they've enhanced, the music of the New Jack Kings. We put together the House Party Experience tour, where now we're actually taking that and taking it on the road.
Yes.
I was able to meet you and Angela. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Angela Braden. Please shout out my sister Angela Braden. Yes.
You know how we do. It's so linear. And through that, I've been blessed. I've been blessed. We're working with the National Football League Players Association. Shout out to Sean James, where now the New Jack Kings do nonprofit events and bring a football player or two to help expand and sell tickets for that nonprofit to raise funds for the communities that we serve. It's just, and all this is from me peeling back that onion and being trying to be as true as I can to myself in that mirror.
Beautiful. I mean, wow. There's a common thread throughout your whole life, though, and that is, as I said earlier, purpose.
Yeah, and let me show you. So we're sitting at the podcast, and I tell him a story. So my man Daryl Mitchell, he's been in TV, film 35 years plus. Had a motorcycle accident.
Shout out.
And that don't stop him. God is a superpower. He was on this TV show on Fox called Brothers. He's out in LA shooting Pacific Ocean, and me and another friend of mine, Corey Crash, shout out to Corey Crash, we go out to LA, and so now I'm back in that flow. I'm on the TV set. I'm meeting Carl Weathers, who's like my hero.
Oh, I love Carl Weathers.
I remember him saying, there is no tomorrow. I mean, all these people and cast and crew, Michael Strahan. And so we're on his. He lives at this condo, this beautiful condo, and is the roof is like this kind of lounge area, and the Pacific Ocean is like right there. So you see in the Pacific Ocean, the sun is coming in, and we're sipping. He's like, yeah, to come back to this place, you gotta have a purpose. So it was GAP, GHAP, gotta have a purpose. So I go back to New York, and I'm thinking, I'm looking. Oh, where is that purpose? I'm looking for that purpose. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like Denzel Washington in Training Day. Right. Where can you be? And I don't know. Like I went around like that for a minute, and all of a sudden, God said, "You are the purpose.
Ooh,
it's in you." And at that table,
yes,
God and Trice, I said, I realized I am the purpose. I don't gotta look nowhere. It's here.
Nope.
And to me, it meant people that I connect to every day, because it wasn't done for me when I needed help. Friends became strangers. Strangers became family.
Woo!
It's not just a personal thing. It's not just I am the purpose. We are the purpose.
We are the purpose.
So whoever I see, whoever I'm connecting people now behind the scenes. We'll talk about that. But like your platform, I'm working on the NJK TV channel on Roku. Your platform will be there, and we're going to work on expanding. Why? Because we are the purpose.
We are. Yes.
That's my drive now. That's my drive.
Absolutely. That's it. I put it on. Yeah, we're going to put it up out there. We are the purpose.
Definitely.
We're putting it out there. That, wow, that's heavy. That's so deep. It's possible.
It is.
It's possible. I think about our youngsters. I always, G, I call you G. I work with kids, and this platform, I want them to be able to see whatever interview that's done, so they can just see themselves in someone. Yes. And I always ask this question: what advice would you give? A youngster, as I say, old timers, youngster, a youngster that's interested in pursuing, I don't know, the career in the industry, pursuing anything really, because we've really touched a gamut of things. But what would you say? What would be the advice that you would give them?
I think the first thing, and everybody doesn't address their life or the way they move spiritually, and that's okay. But I also say you have to be true to yourself, because there's people going to tell you can't do, you shouldn't do, or try to take you away from what you're doing. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up, no matter what it is. Because they say if you put it out there enough, might fail one time, might fail 10 times, might fail 20 times. That 21st time is the one that's going to take you to the next level of where you want to be. And I know, because believe me when I tell you, I'm still not giving up. I'm still not giving up. I'm working on a book now. It's called I'm Getting Those Digits, but it's really about my transformation from, a kid with a dream, to living the dream, to falling from the dream, but building the dream again. And it's that talk about that man in the mirror. So the real case scenario, whatever you want to do, be true to yourself, so that you can show the world exactly who you are, what you are, and how you're bringing it to them. It's really about that person being true to yourself, and never really giving up. There's going to be things, there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be people telling you not to do it, people saying you can't do it. People saying you shouldn't do it. But if you're true to yourself and
Yeah.
if the first time, the fifth time, the 20th time, don't give up because you do it enough times, it's gonna happen. It's just it's a law of numbers, it's a law of nature. It's what God put in you. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
um,
Yes.
Shout out to um, Nicole Sunshine Dalton. You know, she hooked me up with getting an interview on her show.
Mm.
Ending up meeting Ernest Usher, who's now he's like the fourth New Jack King. He's like the fourth member, literally. He's in London.
Yeah.
Getting us now
Yes.
plays and we're getting ready to launch the New Jack King website so that DJs and radio stations in London can start playing their music because we're going out there to tour
That's
and we're
right.
bringing Dreamer 369 with us. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yes.
God. That's God. DJ Chill Will. Shout out to DJ Chill Will. Valdosta. Valdosta,
Yes.
I hope I said it right. He's got us playing on a list. And now we're going to do some shows there. So it's all connected.
Oh, it's a blessing. And I know we could be on forever. We are forever connected. Forever
You
connected
know how we do. You know
now.
how we are. You know how
I
no,
know we can just go we could go for it. How do we get in touch with you? I know we can go on your website, GeneGrooveAllen.com. Please go see the untold story of Groove Beat Chill. Okay. And how else can we get in touch with you? Your social
my
media.
email address, I'm just got to update that today. You can email me voice@GeneGrooveAllen.com. I say, if you're looking to see what the New Jack Kings are doing, just go IG, Facebook, New Jack
Yeah.
Kings. Their YouTube channel is the original New Jack Kings. I think it's like underscore. They're on Linktree, IG, FB, or if you go to me, Gene Groove Allen, and go to FGI FB, you'll see that they're connected. We're there. And these guys are incredibly talented. They're the New Jack King, the idea is that they do 90s music, but with up to date lyrics. New Jack King was originated by the King, Teddy Riley.
Mm.
And we were
That's
there.
right.
That
That's
was our
right.
label. So Guy, I'll Be Sure,
Oh yeah.
Bobby
Shout out to Bobby
Brown,
Shore. Oh,
Keith
oh yeah.
Sweat.
Oh,
This man still incredible genius, and they're paying homage to that type of music. So what they do is they do, these New Jack swing, and they sing songs that they've made and written, and people love the '90s hip hop R&B, and that's what they embrace, and that's what
right.
we're out there doing. We have a show January 6th in New Jersey. We work with the community a lot, so it's a community event. I got some NFL players coming through. I'm going to be hosting, doing my thing, getting people, ready. And then New Jack Kings are going to perform their songs. It's going to be a great event. It's a great time. So
Oh,
definitely, reach out, go to,
yeah.
Voice of Gene Groove Allen, New Jack Kings. Check us out.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
the honor of just having our conversation and getting to know you a little bit better.
No problem. I enjoyed this. I appreciate
it. I did too. Yeah, and I am, of course, we've already shouted our Dreamer 369 crew, with peer pressure and DJ Papers. You can't forget about DJ Papers now.
Papers
No, you not at all. We're here in our hometown, so he's our hometown guy.
Yeah.
So but he is killing it.
Shout out to Dwayne Cooper. He's helping us do some things locally in terms of some venues. With the House Party Experience Tour.
Yes.
Shout out to DJ Larry Loud up in New York, up in Buffalo. He's going to have the New Jack Kings on the radio up there. Shout out to HBOK Radio and HNIC Mitchell and Larry Yogi. These guys got him on the radio. So I just want to say that it takes connections. It takes a purpose. It takes everybody.
You're right.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we're still supporting everyone here. So you're going to see all the stuff with the House Party Experience, anything that G's got going on. You will see that on Sunday in the Parks platform as well. And the family is growing, and we are the purpose. Take care, everyone. Happy holidays.
Well, it's about that time for us to get off. So cut the rattle, yo, get set in your saddle. Mount your horse, the countdown begun. The groove be chill surprise. You don't see nothing all of a sudden. The curtain rise. Grooving I take a